This one's going to be a bit different. We've got both our classical and my acoustic students in this one because we can all do it. And what we're going to do today is we're really going to work on our ear training. Ear training is where we hear a melody or a set of notes or chords and we figure them out by ourselves without going online, without going onto YouTube, which we are currently on. So maybe going on YouTube to get a video like this, but we're going to use it to help our ear in recognising notes and figuring out whatever song we like. The great thing about this is it means when you've got a song you really, really want to learn, because I can't be there to help you and show it to you, you might be able to figure it out yourself. So we're going to move on to figuring it out. So what we're going to do, we've got to be able to recognise notes. Now I'm going to play a note in a minute, not on my guitar, just magically in the air, and with that note I want you to figure it out. The note is this. So with that note, quickest way to figure it out. First of all, check all your open strings. Is it an open string? It may well be. A lot of notes do come somewhere near them. There's quite a few notes you can cover in just 2 seconds just strumming through them, so always check them first. If it isn't your open string, do not worry. What we're going to do is if you've got dots on your guitar, so you've got those letter dots, the A, the C, the D, the F, the G, try those next. Give them a whirl. So, and it just has to be that. You'll know the note when you play it. It will sound just like it. You might have heard, I did just play it then, or I might have skipped it. So we're going to hunt around for that note in those positions. You may well notice that the note I just played, this one, is this one. It's a C, right? And so by hunting around just those quick two things, you could have quite easily found that note. Now what if the note was a bit more difficult? What if it was this note? Right, that note's a bit more difficult. So it isn't any of these. It isn't any of these. So we need to look around a bit more for it. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to find the nearest note, or a note that sort of sounds a bit like it. And we're just going to hunt up and down the neck, one fret at a time, until we find it. So there's that note again. So we might go, not a C, maybe C sharp, not C sharp, D, not D sharp, D sharp, D sharp, or E flat, whichever way you want to look at it. That was the note we just played. Now, you do not need to know what it's called. If you don't know the name of the note, it really doesn't matter. All that matters is that you can find it. When we find that note, it's going to be our first step into figuring out our melody. So find your first note. That is the most key thing. Once you find that first note, the rest of the notes are so much easier to find. But the first one is the most difficult one, and it's the one that kind of sets us up for the rest of the song. So say D sharp, we're going to be really mean. D sharp or E flat is our first note. The next note might be this one. Now that could still be one of our notes, one of the open strings, or it could be one of our fretted notes, so we check them. Right? But you might get it wrong in that you're not comparing it to the first one. So try and play the first note first and then one of your other notes. So you might go. So yeah, that was D sharp, G. And we're making steps now to figuring out our melody. The last note of our melody is going to be this. Right, now what we should notice now is the direction of the melody. It's going up each time. Dum, bum, bum. So we know the next note has to be higher than our G. It's got to be on the bottom string, it's got to be up here somewhere. So we can just test. That's it. It was an A sharp. Really difficult note to find. You would have never picked that one, but using our kind of intuitive to figure it out, we got there really quickly. So that melody is just not too difficult really. But if I'd given that to you without the instructions, you might not have been able to find it that easily. And here's the thing, it's just hunting around. The melody might have actually gone like this instead. Now, it still starts the same, goes up, but we can hear the next note goes down rather than up. So this time, we search that way down the neck. We search all the way to the E, and then we search upwards, and it'll be there somewhere. So let's try it. Dun, dun, dun. That's it. F sharp, G, E. Easy. Now, this is our first part of figuring out a song, and you may have already noticed, but we probably have done this in class before. I call it Unlock the Vault. It's a game we play quite a lot in primary school to try and figure out and make our ears better in a fun way. And we're going to use this technique to figure out your own song. So you're going to pick any song you like, any song in the world. It doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be easy. It can be whatever you like, but you've got to really know it inside out. If that's Star Wars, if that's Pokemon, whatever it might be, figure it out and have a go at figuring it out as easy as you can. Now, here's the next step. Once you kind of have part of your melody, you might find that you are forgetting bits. So you remember the beginning, but forget the end. I do this all the time, so I've got part and I'm just so confused that there's so many notes that I forget the end. Two good ways of helping you out here. First of all, you can record yourself, so like we're doing now on the video, record your fingers so you can see where you're playing. That works really well, especially if you don't know how to write down any music. And the second way is just what I said then, we're going to write down some music. So that might be tab. If you're an acoustic player, that might be the easiest, but a lot of you know how to actually write music with notes. So maybe you'll just write it down in notes, draw stave lines or download some and start writing them out. It doesn't have to be super accurate, you just need the note position, not the note length, any of that, just the note position. And you can use it to remind yourself where the next note is. And so quite quickly you should be able to figure out your melody if you're writing it down and keeping it safe, or recording it and keeping it safe. And just about everyone should be able to write it down in some way. There's loads of ways we could write it down. If you have a better way, use that way, but tab, notation works really, really well. Like I said, recording works really well as well. Now, you might find that you can't notate it. So if it was that D sharp, G and A sharp, you might not know where those notes are. So what we can do, we can get those notes and we can move them down until they are notes we know. So rather than F sharp, we could start on the C, because we know where a C is, and get our same melody, almost the same. This one's just higher, or we could have to move it up. But if you can move it into a place where you do know where the notes are, that might help with your notation writing. You don't have to do that. You can just stick with where it is, record it, use different methods, do whatever you find best. And if you want, I'd love to hear some recordings or some notations of your favourite songs. Stick them in the comments below, put them on a YouTube video, send them through to my email, get your parents to do it. I'd love to hear whatever you're listening to and see how well you figured it out. Right, well, I'll speak to you in a couple of weeks' time. I hope you have a great time till then, and I'll see you there. Cheers. Bye, guys.